Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are today's top 30 stories in 30 minutes. 80% of Puerto Rico is still without electricity, and it turns out they can't get a decent meal either. Long Branch Partners was contracted by the government to send food aid packages to victims of Hurricane Maria, but people are outraged. Victims argue the food selection isn't meeting their dietary needs, with snacks like Baby Ruth candy bars, Airheads, Cheez-Its, and canned meat. One angry family member of a hurricane victim posted this photo of a food package her brother received. Another said the relief team member even apologized and said, quote, he felt bad for giving care packages like this out. For their part, the agency says that the packages were never meant to be full meals and they've cancelled all future orders. Like we said earlier, much of the island is still without electricity, and as a result, the executive director of the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority resigned Friday. There were questions about why repairs were moving so slowly, almost 9 weeks into recovery.
We have some products that have been pulled from store shelves and thousands of cars that might put drivers at risk in our recall alerts. Honda is recalling about 900,000 of its Odyssey minivans made between 2011 and 2017. If it's not properly latched, the second row seat can tip forward when drivers hit the brake. So far, there have been some minor injuries related to this issue. Honda says they are working on a fix which will be free to owners. Trader Joe's is issuing recalls for some of its white meat chicken salads, curried white chicken deli salads, and turkey cranberry apple salads. They may contain shards of glass or plastic. The salads in the recall have a use-by date of November 10th through the 21st and a USDA inspection code of P-40299. Mitsubishi is recalling about 84,000 cars for an airbag issue on some of its Mirage models from the years 2014 through 2018. The company says vibrations from the road or underinflated tires can cause the car's computer to disable the airbags. Mitsubishi says they'll reprogram the car at no cost to owners.
A new report says that TED Talks are plagued by sexual harassment. TED lectures by world leaders, executives, and artists have over 1 billion views online. Tickets cost up to $10,000. Past guests have included people like Bill Gates and Al Gore. The Washington Post claims to have seen emails to the TED leadership detailing complaints from at least 5 women who say they were harassed or groped at a TED event in Vancouver. The communication started when PR expert Brooke Hammerling emailed TED's owner, Chris Anderson, to complain. She said she was literally pushed and felt fearful as a female. It's reportedly not the first time. According to one email from Director of Partnerships Tom Riley, sexual misconduct at conferences had been going on for years. A spokesperson told the Post, we did hear from a small number of women attendees at TED 2017 about harassment. As a result, 2 men were immediately disinvited and won't be returning. One TED speaker said that even though the misconduct has been going on for years, the difference now is that people are speaking out. There is one subject TED could do a better job of addressing. Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, I am hearing that Trader Joe's is offering a lower price option for Thanksgiving.
That's right, Richard. Trader Joe's is serving up Thanksgiving in a box for just $13. The grocery store is selling an all-in-one dish called Turkey en croûte. It feeds 8 people and is made up of turkey tenderloin and cornbread stuffing that is all rolled into a pastry crust. NASA scientists expect to find alien life on other planets within the next 20 years using high-tech telescopes and radars. These scientists have been able to spot 3,500 potential Earth-like worlds in other solar systems and galaxies. Verizon is close to clinching a deal with the NFL for digital streaming rights that would give Verizon the ability to deliver games on internet-connected TVs, tablets, and phones.
Nicole, we know that the viewership for the NFL has been down. Could this be the boost they need?
Well, yes, it might, Richard. Verizon's current deal with the NFL allows the carrier to live stream games to devices which have 7-inch screens or smaller. But this new agreement would allow Verizon to stream football games to any device, including TVs. More Top 30 when we return.
President Trump fired back at an outspoken father of a UCLA basketball player who downplayed the president's role in getting his son released from China. 3 of the school's basketball players were arrested for shoplifting in China last week while the team was there to play a basketball game. President Trump said he asked the Chinese president to personally intervene and took credit for their eventual release, saying, "To the 3 UCLA basketball players, I say you're welcome. Go out and give a big thank you to President Xi Jinping of China." LaVar Ball is the father of one of the players who never shies away from the media spotlight and promotes his family's brand whenever possible. When asked about the Trump help, he responded, "Who? What was he over there for? Don't tell me nothing. Everybody wants to make it seem like he helped me out." And of course, the president responded via Twitter saying, "LaVar Ball, the father of LiAngelo, is unaccepting of what I did for his son, and that shoplifting is no big deal. I should have left them in jail." All 3 players have been suspended from the UCLA basketball team indefinitely.
These are your quick hits. Charles Manson died of natural causes on Sunday at the age of 83. Manson's followers took 7 lives under his leadership, and he served more than 46 years in prison before his death. The Georgia Dome was purposely demoed on Monday morning thanks to 5,000 pounds of explosives. The dome was flattened in just 15 seconds. And the American Music Awards were Sunday night. Highlights included Pink and Kelly Clarkson opening the show with an emotional rendition of Everybody Hurts. And Christina Aguilera paid tribute to Whitney Houston. Diana Ross was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award, and Pink defied gravity by performing 35 stories up on the outside of a hotel using the windows as her dance floor. I have a fear of heights just watching that.
There is more farmland in the world than we thought. A new map released by the US Geological Survey says there are 1.87 billion hectares of farmable land on Earth. That is 15 to 20% higher than previously believed. The increase comes from a better understanding of areas that were mapped inaccurately or not at all. One challenge was obtaining satellite images that were free from clouds, and in some areas that took years. India ranked first with 9.6% of all arable land. The US came second with 8.9%. China and Russia placed 3rd and 4th. South Asia and Europe were called agricultural capitals of the world because some countries there farm on about 80% of their land, and by comparison, only 18% of the US is used for farming. The project was partly funded by NASA, with the goal of increasing food and water security. The world's population right now is nearly 7.6 billion, and it's expected to reach 10 billion by the year 2050. The scientists said that with a growing population, it's more important than ever to understand how much food we can grow and where we can grow it. Major League Baseball has appointed a special committee to look into whether or not baseballs were juiced during the 2017 season. The team's GMs were notified during a meeting last week, and the investigation is ongoing. Mets assistant general manager said they have put together a high-level panel of physicists and scientists to study the ball, and early returns are that really not much has changed. But we'll see what they say at the end. Several pitchers claimed over the course of the season that the balls felt different and there was a major spike in home runs. The season record was topped by more than 400 this year. The MLB naturally insists the balls were not juiced. Kristen, I am hearing interesting things about Americans and fruits and veggies.
Yeah, Richard, and how we need to eat them. A new study from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found 1 in 10 Americans eat enough fruit and vegetables every day. Only 12% of Americans eat the recommended 1.5 to 2 cups of fruit per day, and only 9% eat the recommended 2 to 3 cups of veggies. It found men, young adults, and people living in poverty were the least likely groups to get the recommended amounts. As a result, researchers have called for a renewed push for lowering the cost and expanding access to healthy foods. The study's lead authors said the lack of nutrients provided by a healthy, balanced diet puts people at a greater risk for chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease. According to the CDC, 7 out of the top 10 leading causes of death in the U.S. are chronic diseases. So you've heard it before, but it's still true. An apple a day really does keep the doctor away. We have an update to the story of a filmmaker and the viral car commercial he made. This is kind of a spoiler alert. It's a happy ending. Max Landman wanted to sell his girlfriend's car. The 21-year-old Honda Accord called Greenie had over 140,000 miles and a book value of about $1,500. But a car commercial Max created got millions of views on YouTube. He talked to us about what happened behind the scenes.
We decided to take it really seriously. That was like our MO from the beginning. We're like, how are we going to pitch this? You know, who are we selling this to? And we figured that the more seriously we took it, the funnier it would be.
Bidding on an eBay auction for Greenie hit 6 figures before it was accidentally taken down. The Accord was back on the market. As a response, CarMax created a video of their own.
Your commercial has made a 1996 Honda Accord-size hole in our heart, and we will not rest until we filled it.
They offered to buy the car for $20,000. They said that included $5 grand for the cat who rode shotgun in the ad named Papa Puff Pants. Max's girlfriend, Carrie, agreed to sell the car for $20 grand. The couple are now engaged. The money will go toward the crew who worked on the ad and planning a wedding. There was just one condition to the deal. Papa Puff Pants is not for sale. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 46 Charlotte, Nastasha Reinhardt narrowly escaped death when a truck pulled in front of her car on the interstate. Nastasha is still recovering, but a surprise visit from the paramedics who saved her life certainly lifted her spirits. Once strangers, these women now share an unshakable bond. Our next story from Fox 10 Phoenix, Benny Coker's leg was amputated recently. Luckily, he had David Banks of the Limb Center to guide him.
He comes hobbling in on that thing, and I'm like, there's my man.
An amputee himself, David fit Benny with his first prosthetic. The two quickly formed a friendship, and now watch as Benny takes his first steps with his new leg. Benny's spirit and sense of humor make him truly unstoppable.
Every day I wake up and I put 1.5 feet on the ground. A lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Our final story from Fox 2 Detroit. Shauna Reynolds has worked in the correction system for years, but it wasn't enough.
A lot of people get into law enforcement because they want to help people. And when you get into it, you find out it's a lot harder to really help people than you expect.
So she started About Face Course Correction to help women transition from prison life. Women convicted of nonviolent crimes are allowed to live in the house for free for 1 year while also attending classes to complete their education and land jobs. If she can change just one life, Shauna believes it'll have been worthwhile.
The doors of the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. are now open, but experts say a prized item inside the $500 million museum could be fake. According to CNN, Arstein Justnes, a biblical studies professor at the University of Agder in Norway, says the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are purportedly Jewish scripture that date back to Jesus' times and give credence to biblical stories, are in fact counterfeit. If he's right about this, the Dead Sea forgeries could be one of the greatest cons in biblical archaeology. There are, in fact, 50,000 fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and this museum recently bought 13 of them. But Justice claims that 90% of all Dead Sea Scroll fragments that have turned up on the market since 2002 are fakes. Steve Green is the museum's founder, and naturally doesn't think they're fake. He says, I hope that, as people leave here, they will get inspired to get to know the Bible story for themselves. And if they do, they'll come across some weird stuff.
Students in the cosmetology program at Piedmont Community College in Charlotte, North Carolina are learning about more than just hair. After helping out with Look Good, Feel Better, a project that provided 32 wigs to cancer patients and survivors done in partnership with the American Cancer Society, they also learned about the joys of giving back. Professor Melissa Martin started the Look Good, Feel Better project because she wanted to teach her students about how good it feels to help others. And students like Casey Spratt-Wilkes said volunteering to create wigs for this cause was an opportunity of a lifetime.
I felt an extreme feeling of jubilance because it was always a dream of mine to actually make wigs for cancer survivors.
After donating the wigs, Megan Pauley, program manager at the American Cancer Society, says visits from cancer patients and survivors increased thanks to all the new wigs. Stories like this make you realize that volunteering isn't just your good deed for the day. Making a difference in other people's lives makes a difference in yours. One couple is paying a hefty reward for anyone who can help find their four-legged friends. A fire completely destroyed the house in Farmington Hills, Michigan, where Will and Lauren Powers live. The couple made it out safely, but they're still looking for their cats, Cygnus, Arcturus, and Sirius. The cats are all named for stars, which is kind of fitting because two of them actually are. This fall, Arcturus won the Guinness World Record for tallest domestic cat. At over 19 inches tall, he looks more like a wildcat. Cygnus is a fluffy Maine Coon with a tail that's 17.5 inches long. According to Guinness, the longest in the world. The Powers are offering a reward of $25,000 each, along with the same amount for a fourth cat who is staying with them temporarily. No one officially tracks pet rewards, but 100 grand might be a record. We've posted some information about the four felines on our Top 30 Facebook page, and we certainly hope they get home safely.
According to a study published in the journal Computers in Human Behavior, punctuation in texts have taken on an entirely different meaning because texts lack the subtle nuance of tone that face-to-face conversations provide. People are looking to deliberate misspellings and punctuation marks to fill the gap. The researchers tested this theory with text responses that were positive, like yeah or yup, neutral like maybe or all right, and negative like nope or nah. The result was that recipients found the inclusion of a period after a one-word response to be negative, even if the word was positive or neutral. As co-author Celia Clint told the website Moneyish, we've agreed that putting a period after a one-word response in a text conveys something like abruptness, annoyance, negativity. As technology evolves, so does punctuation. Okay? Period. More Americans are calling in sick when they are not sick. A new survey by Career Builder shows 40% of workers have called in sick to work in the last year when they were healthy. One reason might be because about 3 in 5 workers feel they need to give their boss an excuse even though their job offers paid time off. 30% of those workers called off for a doctor's appointment, whether they were sick or not. It was the most popular answer. 23% just didn't feel like working, and 20% said that they needed to relax. Employers were also surveyed about the most dubious excuses they'd heard from their staff. At the top of that list was an employee who was afraid to leave their house because a bear was in their yard. Another said their hand was injured when their phone exploded. It was unclear exactly how they made the call to their boss. 26% of managers said they fired employees for making a fake excuse, which is good news. It means 74% of them won't fire you if you make up some absolute nonsense.
The new U.S. Olympic uniforms are out of this world. Check out astronaut-themed gear for the snowboarding team. It's designed by the winter sports company Burton and pays tribute to NASA. The company inserted its name in NASA's iconic logo. And take a look at the jacket with the snow pants. You can see just how similar it looks to an actual spacesuit worn by an American astronaut. On the inside of the jacket, Korean translations of popular phrases like, "Do you speak English?" and "Wish me luck." There's a popular sports phrase, you look good, you feel good, you play good. So let's hope that's true for the U.S. Olympic snowboarders in February. Looks like Eva Longoria is moving on up because she just listed her Hollywood Hills home for $14 million. The actress and producer purchased the celebrity compound in 2015 for $11.4 million from megastar Tom Cruise. It sits on a 2.5-acre lot that provides the privacy many celebrities crave, thanks to an extra long driveway that keeps out the prying eyes of the paparazzi. The property itself contains 2 houses, a 3-bedroom Mediterranean villa, and a 4-bedroom guest house, a stone cottage, and 2 small studios. The main house is warm and inviting with a country-style kitchen, a living room with a fireplace, and large windows that highlight the home's 180-degree view of Los Angeles. And not only that, it has a lagoon-style pool and spa, multiple gardens, and fountains that make the property an urban oasis.
Owning a dog could literally save your life, or at least make you live longer. A new study out of Sweden says having a dog reduces your risk of cardiovascular-related death by 36% and your risk of death overall by 33%. They also say that your chances of having a heart attack are lowered by 11%. Senior author To Fall said, We know that dog owners, in general, have a higher level of physical activity, which could be one explanation to the observed results. But these stats apply to a single dog owner because they are the sole person responsible for walking, feeding, and interacting with said dog. Having a family dog means the benefits are spread out amongst all of you, so you should each get a dog or just go out for more walks. Kristen, tell me what is coming up on the next Top 30?
We've got some great stories, Richard. Some of those holiday shopping deals online could be scams. We'll tell you what to look out for. You've never seen a space shuttle like this. It can fly and land itself. And one father put 5 kids through college by working as a janitor. These stories and more are coming up on the next Top 30.